Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to another trade recap,
With Chucks and Burton.
as always. Yeah, we hope you've all had a good week, had a good weekend. Obviously, it's Sunday, markets are open today, so we hope you're all ready for the week ahead as well. It's definitely going to be a very focused one from us. So yeah, we're ready to get started.
Yeah, so we just wanted to go through a few things as an intro to this video, just cover the rest of this year, next year, and a little bit about us as well. So, want to get started?
Yeah, let's get into us. So NJAT. So for you, I hope everyone knows, it does stand for not just a trade. Something that we've had for a number of years now, an idea that we've had, and we've kind of manifested into something. Yeah, so we just wanted to talk about kind of what our goal is, yeah, and kind of like what's coming. So yeah, Burton, you can talk about our personal progression.
Yeah, so of course we're traders first before obviously we're any sort of teachers or mentors. So we plan to level up essentially next year. We've seen a lot of things in the past few months, as obviously we've created NJAT, and we've seen a lot of things in the market, a lot of additional potential entries and so on and so on. So we're just going to really dig into that over the next month and into next year, and then eventually obviously release more and more content for you to see exactly how we're trading. So more entries, and obviously you're going to benefit by us showing you this as well. So it's going to benefit everyone. But essentially what we're trying to say is we're not stopping. No, this is just the start for us, and we're going to continue to level up and become better traders and deliver much more to you.
We're not, we're, like, as Burton said, we are traders first. This is our goal. It has been our goal for a number of years, and this is who we've desired to be and who we want to be. So this is what is obviously most important to us. And yeah, we feel that obviously the big benefit for not just a trade and having us form and have members underneath not just a trade is it's very beneficial for you guys, for us to have that type of approach and that type of mindset, because our goal is to share as much value as possible. We feel that we haven't cracked the market, but we've gained a very, very good understanding, and that's what we show you. So yeah, it's important for us that we grow as individual traders, as we say to you guys. So yeah, you can expect that
more from us,
just more
and more. We understand narrative, we understand how to see what's happening and understand that on the M1. So it's now just about how can we get into more opportunities and gain more percentage from the market, because at the moment we're doing great percentage, but we know that there's more out there to gain. So it's just, again, just not stopping, and we're just going to continue to learn and grow and share what we find with you guys.
Definitely. And there is a lot, not to say there's a lot as in there's a lot more, but obviously there is a greater understanding that you can gain in the markets. So this is essentially where we want to position ourselves to gain as much information as possible. And as Burton said, more trades, but along with that, right, there's a very confident, repeatable, and dare I say, easy aspect to that way of trading too, right? Not just more and create more information or more confusion, but in terms of a way, as in more becomes easier because of how we approach the market. So yeah, I hope that's clear.
Yeah, so plans for next year, we're just going to read off what's kind of in our minds that we've put down here is our plans for obviously December and 2021. Yeah, exactly. We plan to do a lot more videos of you guys, moving to a potentially a website format, and all of these at the moment are just ideas. So obviously your feedback is important to us. So just let us know what your thoughts are on this as well. But
yeah, and how you feel you can gain the most.
Exactly. Yeah. But we plan to do more videos, potentially move over to a website format. We do actually like Telegram, but moving over to a website format kind of puts everything into a nice, clean, sectioned out place. But yeah, and then planning new format for weekly content. So obviously we're going to have PDFs where people learn from, and then obviously videos where people can learn in different ways. People learn in different ways, so we're just going to add on.
More specifically, in terms of planning a new weekly format, is to basically host, or how we can implement more videos into the week. As I said, we're very precious with our time, so we're not trying to create more work for us, but at the same time we want to see how we can provide the most value. So we've kind of feel that maybe videos is the better approach for kind of us and for you guys. So yeah, by planning a new weekly format for content is basically to be able to host more videos, more live webinars, and as Burton said, have videos on kind of key topics alongside PDFs that we release. So it kind of covers all of the needs for all types of people that learn in different ways. Obviously this comes with time. We can't do this. We're not planning to just do everything in a month, because as I said, we're precious with our time. But
and of course it takes time to plan these things as well, to actually take in the feedback and then create a plan that's going to potentially work, or figure out how we can actually provide more in all our videos as well.
Exactly. So yeah, yes, that's probably about it. So the last things we wanted to mention was so community. So we don't plan on having any type of community, but we do plan on opening up a discussion page in more of a discussion format for everyone to be a part of. So yeah, but yeah,
this is something we're still just exploring at the moment.
Exactly.
So it's just all these ideas are ones that we're going to really dig into December in 2021, but at the moment, again, these are just ideas that we're going to expand and grow on. So we're just sharing them with you guys.
Exactly. And then so as I already mentioned, more live webinars. I think that's definitely a thing we'll be implementing. And so something we spoke about previously on our Instagram, but we haven't really spoken about it much to you guys directly, but essentially that's capping the group. So as we've made ourselves clear that we're traders first. We're not trying to open up some big teaching academy or trading academy or anything along them lines. So obviously, if the bigger it gets, the more it becomes to manage. So we've definitely always known that we're gonna cap, basically cap how many members we will ever take on, really. And with that in mind, our goal is really to kind of expand within the group. So for us, it's more about just creating traders that see the market in very similar ways, that can essentially be able to share their ideas in a way that is at a level which is
which brings more value essentially to people that are either just starting up or people that are not really grasping the concepts, that may need a couple of little tweaks here and there. We're just adding on more people to the team essentially, so that we can provide more to you guys, and questions will get answered quicker, and so on and so on. So our aim is just to provide more and more and more to you, and the ways that we can do that in a to obviously make things better is what we're going through right here.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, you know, obviously, if you see our teaching style, we're not trying to tell you directly this is what it is or this is what you should do. We want to allow you as traders to grow individually as well, and, you know, find your ways of doing things. So with that in mind, you're going to see things that maybe we don't see, or maybe other people, the other members don't see. So we want to create a place where we can share these types of ideas within, you know, everyone can share their ideas essentially, but obviously in a more structured way. So, but yeah, essentially we just want to grow within the team, within the community, we want to grow organically. Again, we're not trying to create any academy or anything like that. We're just trying to create this a good bunch of traders, you know, that, you know, we're able to hopefully go on and you know, create more in so many other areas as well, outside of trading. So yeah, I hope that's, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's clear. That's NGAT, that's our intention. Obviously it has only been just over a month, so, you know, we're still very early on. You know, we didn't start off as teachers or, you know, putting videos together, you know, so it's all still pretty new. But of course, we know we're going to get better. We know the value that we're providing is beneficial to you all, so we just want to continue. And yeah, just basically get to the point where we're all loving what we do, right? We're all banking that percentage and yeah, enjoying our trading weeks.
Exactly. So today we wanted to go into
so moving on
price deliveries.
From
cool.
From that.
Sorry, we wanted to go through two price deliveries with you. First was Monday's price delivery, and then second was Friday's, focusing a lot on higher time frame, intention, structure, time frames, and momentum shifts, and obviously cause as well, and then a few tips that we was going to put in there as well, which we have marked out. So let's get into it. Cool. So this is Monday's price delivery. So what we wanted to showcase here was higher time frame price delivery and zooming out and seeing the full picture on the M1. So that's quite important to us to not just be zoomed into just one part of the chart and only really understanding one part of the chart, but actually to take in everything that's happening, because we can see higher time frame from M1 and we can understand intention from higher time frame by looking at M1 and so on and so on. So it's really digging into this price delivery and what's happening. So obviously we know the ideal price delivery is that range, initiation, mitigation, and continuation, but there's always going to be different variations of this. Let me do this one. Both of these on. There's always going to be different variations of this price delivery, and that's literally what we got here. So this is just a quick markup of a few different price deliveries, but it's the same thing. It's the same logic, still following that range, initiation, cause built to move higher, to move lower, and then mitigation and continuation. And this is a bullish version for you as well.
I think just to quickly just go through the phases here, you know, to you know, it's that range, that initiation, right? This is where we know now the intention of the BFIs and where they want to direct price. So we can see that their intention is lower prices. And then that next phase, essentially before the mitigation, is that cause, them building cause, right? Cause for both sides, right? Both cause for the mitigation and then cause for the continuation, and obviously of lower prices. So just always remember that, like, loosely in your mind when you're looking at price delivery, is that this is what we can expect to see, right? Inside here, it may look really, really funky at times, but the purpose of that price delivery is still following the same intention, right? And this is why we want to learn and really understand price delivery, right? Especially on the 1 minute, because it happens quicker. And now we can start following the market and start recognizing when certain things are happening. But yeah, obviously you guys have seen this before. Burton's done the honors of drawing some variations, some, you know, these are very key variations for you. So
also as well, this is what even came about from drawing these was just understanding from each other how each other are trading, and that's how essentially we went on to talking about price delivery in more detail. And this was just over this weekend. I mean, we do this all the time, but this is just over this weekend. But me understanding how Chucks is trading, and how he's entering his positions, why he's entering those positions, and so on and so on, because we're still learning from each other as always, as traders. So it's just being able to break this down and understand it, and then obviously show you guys as well, in a format of this, and then looking on the charts as well and seeing the same thing.
Same thing. Go back onto the bullish example. So probably just like move it a bit to the right so they can see the chart in the background a little bit at the same time.
Talking about that?
Yes. So yeah, they've seen both sides now. So this is the price delivery that Burton's about to go through right now. I just wanted to show them in situ.
Oh, cool. But yeah, so cool. So back to the charts. Obviously, we're following this bullish price delivery. So this is a higher time frame move, obviously, that we can see on the lower time frame by just zooming out. But again, we've got this range where the orders are being stacked, the initiation. This is all this in here. This whole move down, this whole move up is just building cause for lower prices. And obviously, we've got mitigation out of that. I think it was H1 OB there, and then that gave the momentum shift to the upside. Shift to the upside. One thing we want to talk about with momentum shifts as well is if we're looking at a higher time frame point of interest, and we're looking at a momentum shift on the M1 at that higher time frame point of interest, and we're following bullish structure, for example. So obviously we got range, initiation, we're following that bullish structure to continue maintaining higher lows. If we get a momentum shift down here, the first place we really want to be looking at is the next swing high for that continuation of obviously that momentum to the upside. So that was one of the things that we really wanted to dig into in this recap here as well.
Definitely.
Is understanding that when we do get a momentum shift at a point of interest, that's our confirmation that we're going to continue. And then obviously if we're starting to see BFI activity pushing price further and further and further, now we're literally just looking at this swing high as a potential first target. So a lot of you asked us about targets as well, and this is a way that we can essentially look for targets. This is one way that we can look for targets, which is understanding what's happening on the higher time frame, the price delivery, the range, initiation, mitigation, and continuation. And we're just stacking more and more and more confidence onto that while we're understanding what's happening. So if we're seeing momentum shifts at our point of interest, at our point of interest, and now we're seeing BFIs getting involved in this move, and now obviously we're looking at the swing high to be taken out, and it's exactly the same in the opposite. I mean, I'll even bring these up. You can just use these same concepts here of these same concepts of this, and this low could be considered as a swing low. Let's say this is higher time frame. Let's move this. So if this is, let's say this is a higher time frame price delivery, this low could be considered. This is the swing high. This is the swing low. So after we've mitigated, let's say this is our momentum shift in here. This is where we're going to be looked to be taken out, and it's exactly the same with every single delivery, whether that happens here, 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 so on and so on. It's always going to aim for these to take out these highs. It's the same just on a higher time frame as it is on the lower time frame.
Exactly. And then just to add to that, it's targets, but it's also confidence. It's also expectation. You can click on the chart. It's also expectation. It's really building that narrative and understanding. When we see this happen and this momentum shift on the 1 minute, right? We see full breaker structure. When we're noticing this price delivery and watching this price delivery, we can see the intention, right? We can see that fast move away and a mitigation away, supporting this higher time frame mitigation. So if you are in this trade or in any of these continuation trades, this is bringing you confidence, right? This is when you can say, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I'm following BFI intentions. And I know that they are going to aim for the high. especially because we're in bullish structure already, right? So they're going to look to take out that swing high that's been created, and that's why we had this price delivery, right? If you're looking at this now and saying, I'm looking for sales, you understand you're on the wrong side. This is why we look at the higher time frame picture. But yeah, I just wanted to really stick out there that it's the importance of the confidence that you have when you're taking these longs, that price is going to aim for the swing highs. And then it's not just knowing that picture from down here, but it's also watching, obviously, the price delivery unfold at the same time as well. But yeah, you know, this is, it's essentially this one thing is offering us so much to gain from, and to gain a better understanding of the market, essentially.
Exactly. And as well, this is just giving us more confidence to hold. If we're seeing momentum shifts at these points, and we know that this high is very likely to get taken out, and even when we see up here, this is the daily high, I've got it marked on here, this acts as liquidity. So this is just more cause for higher prices here. So if you're getting in at any points here, obviously, unless you're me and you decide to close it up here for some stupid reasons, that went on to make 1 to 100, but you're aiming for these highs, for example, and obviously cause is built to move higher anyway. So it's just, you're just stacking more in your favor.
I always like to say, I've said to Burton many times, is, and to you guys actually, if you said to yourself, I know that there's going to be higher prices in the market right now, right? Price delivery. The intention of price delivery right now is to create higher prices. So if you can say to yourself, this is the truth, and I know this to be the truth, how would you trade then? Would you be confident in your trading, or would you not be confident in your trading? Would you be looking to get into every single continuation, or would you not be looking to get into every single continuation? This is the mindset that we have to, or I won't say that you have to be in, but this is the mindset that I want to be in when I'm looking at the markets. I want to be sure that I know something's going to happen. Of course, it cannot happen. That's perfectly fine. I'll learn from it. But obviously, in the majority of the time, we're going to be on the right side because we're following clues and signs, using our tools, using our concepts that are fact, right? These are how we read BFI activity.
Cool. So we wanted to go over this price delivery and phases, talking about obviously what's happening, the cause built, how we built our narrative to understanding what's happening to the right, essentially. So we wanted to just talk about obviously the range, which you guys know, which is our stacking of orders, the initiation, and then obviously all of this price action left is now just building cause for that move back down to mitigate. And obviously we have Asian range in here. So we mark our Asian range from 10 o'clock to 7 in the morning. So this is literally just the low and the high of the Asian range. The Asian range is just low volume. So that's why we get that move up and move back down most of the time when we get that delivery where price takes the high, then takes the low, and either moves higher or moves lower.
Just a form of liquidity, essentially.
Exactly, yeah. It's just low volume, so it's easy for BFIs to take all that liquidity within the Asian range. But obviously Asian range is just creating liquidity again to move down with equal lows here. Every single low up here is all obviously liquidity which got taken. We had that momentum shift near that daily high, so obviously adding more liquidity to that move up to the top there. Then we get the momentum shift, the move back down to mitigate this OB within, I'm pretty sure it was H1 OB mitigation there, which obviously happened at the bottom, and then this is where we have that momentum shift at our POI, obviously expecting higher prices. And
there is your perfect representation of structure and timeframes, right? So following your structure up, and then understanding that this lower prices and the intention of lower prices is to mitigate for higher prices, and this is essentially your sell to buy, and you're catching the bottom of the sell. The bottom of the sell into when BFIs are mitigating and then causing higher prices.
Exactly. So I mean, after that, what's important with what we show is we don't just look at this point of interest down here, wait for price to get there, take the trade and hope that this is just going to hit the high and continue higher. We're really watching every single move all the way up as causes being built, as prices being mitigated here, more causes being built to move higher, so on and so on. And, you know, more price delivery is being created and inefficiencies being created and inefficiencies being filled, momentum shifts and so on and so on. We're really looking at every single bit of what price is doing to really understand why it stopped here, why it's going to continue higher. You know, even price stopping here, for example, creating these equal highs, this is just creating cause for higher prices. Every single move within here is really means something to some point in the chart or to a later time, for example.
And if you was to, you know, look at the market from a, you know, I only care about the higher time frame, then you miss all of this. You miss how this delivery actually happened and why it happened, because you're just looking at one candle that looks like this. Now, in your mind, you're trying to look for sales. If you was on the, intraday timeframes. But my point being here is, whereas for us, where we're following that full picture and we're following that price delivery, we're not surprised by moves because we have all of the understanding before it's happened. And this is literally the key to it's building that narrative. It's one, obviously building a narrative, but it's being able to build that narrative is what we show, and it's what we do. These are the tools we use to build that narrative for understanding that higher prices are going to come.
It's literally just building the narrative and then waiting for price to confirm that narrative, and that's exactly what we're doing through understanding price delivery on higher timeframes, and then bringing this to the M1 and really digging into, wow, we've had a momentum shift here. Now we're watching as price is moving higher, we're taking out, you know, intraday swing highs and more causes being built to move higher, and then we're filling in efficiency. We're having more momentum shifts, more BFI activity getting involved in the moves back up, obviously aiming back for that swing high. So we're really looking at all the details in between and understanding each movement and why that movement's happening and what causes being created to move higher, to move lower, what mitigations are happening, what inefficiencies being filled, and really just everything is what's important.
And you can do that. You can do that here in this picture, right? In this little bit down here, or you can do it here as well. And this is the point, that no matter what price action we look at, we know why it's happening, right? Because we're using the same thing. That's why the higher time frame is no different than the lower time frame, right? It's all a representation of the same thing, but it's the skill set that we have. So even now, when we see this price delivery, right, we can see why this was delivered, why this high was delivered, in order to create that range, and then to create liquidity, right, to then it to be taken. So this was always planned on being run. It wasn't random. This was the initial plan before they even put this high in. And this is how these people, you know, this is how we're watching these people trade and move the markets and manipulate the market. So it's, you know, it's a great skill in our opinion. And you know, we don't even have to talk about trades. We can just talk about what their intentions are and what they're trying to do. And as we can see, this whole intention right here created, right, a massive move for the week. And it's all started from this point.
Cool. So Chuck's wanted to go over Friday's momentum shift. So obviously we understood the start of the week and what created that low of the week. So now I want to look at what created the high of the week.
I think the most standout thing for me here, or at least that I want to point out anyway, is just how we see price delivery change from, you know, being very aggressive in higher prices, you know, what we're seeing on this 1 minute price delivery at least, to then being very slow in this movement. I think this is, you know, a good sign to see that, you know, something is being created here. You know, there's a purpose for price delivering in this way. It's good, you know, very, very good standout sign. Hopefully you guys can see it, but as you see, this is that higher time frame fractal high. So seeing that we've got a low, a high, higher high, and then a lower high, right? So completing that higher time frame fractal. So we know that this is going to be the high on of a candle on a higher time frame. So I think the key thing here is just knowing how these fractals high form, and obviously they form in a momentum shift. So some of you might see it, but there's a bigger momentum shift here, and then obviously we have our smaller momentum shift. So on Friday, for those that remember, I kind of highlighted this area as being a potential momentum shift. I didn't, I wanted you guys to be able to see if this was going to turn out to be anything or not, by obviously using the things that we talk about. And here, the thing was to look at your higher time frame and see if this 1 minute momentum shift is going to be a true momentum shift for lower prices. And when we say lower prices, we're talking about taking out some sort of swing low. Lower prices, if I said higher. So obviously we saw we had that momentum shift here. I won't go through it too much in detail. I don't think there's no need. Plus it will be hard to zoom in and out, but we see quite clearly that ABCD move comes into the market. You can even track it from here as well. But obviously depending on what time frames you're looking at the momentum shift on, you can clearly see that it's here across the board, even from a higher time frame perspective. But yeah, showing that the market's fractal. And then I wanted to talk about how the market moves away. So one thing that we spoke about in our structure and timeframes PDF was when we see that a strong high being created, typically a strong high will happen at a mitigation point, a higher time frame mitigation point. That's what we see happening here. So this is already, we're anticipating something to happen here, and then obviously a continuation of lower prices. We see that shift, and then we see the market move away in this fashion. And this fashion is coming back to mitigate out of a previous range and continue in lower prices, right? So you may be seeing price deliver in this type of fashion, but understand the same cause is happening, the same purpose is happening here, right? So here we can see we have this full momentum shift now. We are breaking this most recent swing leg, and obviously this one back here that gets taken, price reacts, moves up, right? Taps the open of the OB that's been created, and then continues and comes back up again, right? So you can see how this high was to create cause, but that's just jumping into this specific detail. But the point here I just want to show here is that we're seeing that same sort of price delivery in the market. It looks different, but right, the logic is the same, the narrative is the same. But yeah, you see that mitigation away, and then that continuation of lower prices. So as you would have saw, I was in, I think, this short over here. I knew I didn't catch a good position, but obviously I'm going to take what I can see while I'm in front of the market, and this is what I saw when I was in front of the market. And then I'm pretty sure I didn't look at the chart too much after that. I just wanted to pretty much just observe price. But I think this is really nice. It's been a really nice week to kind of see that swing low being created, and then that possible swing high be created as well in the same week. And then obviously seeing how the market's acted at both the high and the low, and again, taking on that that understanding of noticing how price is being delivered. But yeah, this is really the bread and butter of how we want to be looking at these this market. Really, I think this is this really, really nice price action. And obviously, Burton, you can kind of pull the chart down. We see price, right, hold that high and then continue to mitigate and move away. And in here, there's multiple positions. Okay, some positions, you might take might come back and stop you out, but then price continues. But understand that your narrative is still correct, right? Only because you got taken out of that trade, whether it was for profits or break even or a loss, the fact is your narrative is still correct. You're still following the right intention of price delivery. So, you know, even if you didn't get into that, you missed a trade, you know there's an opportunity to get into a trade again. And obviously that's what we can see here, you know, multiple times to get back into these moves and catch them, especially when you know that you're moving away from a potential swing higher point. You know that you're pretty safe in your entries as price is going down, especially to hold. Yeah, as Burton is showing, range mitigation continuation, and then go down a bit further. So we see the cause is being created here. Cause created. So we saw that this high swing, this low swing point that we had here for this mitigation, right? We see that it was to hold the range, right? Come back, right? React, fill what it needs to fill, and then see that continuation of prices. And look, here's that cause built to support that move. Right. So again, we're just seeing same price delivery, different variation. But yes, I hope that's pretty much it from me. I think, as I said, the importance was here just noticing that when we talk about strong highs and price mitigating away from these strong highs, this is what we want to notice and what we want to pick up on. Because, okay, you may not be in these moves from the start, but understand next time when you start seeing very similar price delivery at a similar point of interest, you're going to understand why you're seeing price delivery in a certain fashion, and you will be in those moves, right? So the goal first is to understand, to notice, to identify, and then obviously, yeah, you know, as Burton's doing, showing you, picking how you can get into these trades, right? That should come in hindsight after the understanding. For sure, I definitely would have been in the short if I was trading the charts on Friday, right? So it's, you know, there's multiple trades in here that you could have been a part of. Yes, so I hope that's clear. Any questions, please just send us a timestamp and yeah, we can kind of answer the questions you have. Burton, if you don't want to add anything else, then I think the next thing we'll get into is just finish off with the tips. So the first thing we wanted to mention was zooming in and out of price delivery. Burton mentioned it earlier at I think it was about the beginning of the video, around the beginning of him going through the price action, and showed you an example, but essentially, zooming in and out of price action or price delivery, price action, or any kind of anything you're looking at builds that kind of chart / price understanding, which obviously would lead on to helping you understand the full picture and keeping the full picture in mind when you're trading. So yeah, if it's something you're not doing already, make sure that you're allowing yourself to capture multiple perspectives when you're watching and observing price delivery.
Yeah, so that's literally exactly what it is, just zooming out to see the full picture, to understand what's happening on a higher time frame, but seeing that delivery on the M1. So seeing the higher time frame delivery, but how it's delivered on the M1, essentially what Chuck's is saying.
Exactly. And then when you're looking to get into a trade, or you're looking at a specific type of price delivery, say at a point of interest, then that's when you can zoom in, right? So, you know, zoom a lot closer into the candle, so then you're literally watching how that price is delivering. And again, this will just continue to build your awareness on the charts and understand how price delivers. So yeah, could be something that can kind of you can get some breakthrough moments doing.
Yeah, so that brings us on to our second tip, which is focusing on the trades later on. So obviously the power is in the understanding, being able to identify in the moment. You know, trades come after that. So don't be starting to focus on trade straight away. Just start to focus on your observation. I mean, that goes back to the first PDF that we brought out, observation. This is the fundamental, essentially. This is the most important bit of learning to read the price and understanding delivery, is really just observing without belief that you know what's happening, so you can open yourself up to learning. And that's literally what we've done. That's how we've got to how far we've got so quickly.
And it's that I think the good point that Bert mentioned there but didn't kind of touch on was, as soon as you start to think about a trade, that's when your beliefs start to come into the market. So just being able to observe the market without belief, without a predicted or anticipated direction, and just watching how price moves, whether it moves up or whether it moves down. Again, that's where you want to put most of your attention, because essentially that is the skill you'll be using daily to enter trades, and it needs to be built first before you start looking into trades like too early, essentially. Like, yes, we're here to trade, we can place trades, but you don't need to necessarily place a trade today. It's much better for you to gain the understanding to have that long-term future in the markets. I think this is worth saying. Go on.
Sorry, go on. I was going to say, so it's another thing that's a skill as well. So everything that you're learning on this course is just all each individual skills that we're learning and putting together and building our narratives and understanding observation and so on and so on. And observation is the fundamental, the most important. So just make sure you put the time into actually learning observation and understanding what it means, and going through that PDF and really drilling in and understanding, because
and
that's going to benefit you.
It's your variation of observation. Like, everyone's going to understand that word and the action differently, but you need to put it into practice, into action, for you to understand how you like to observe price action, what emotions you feel when price is doing certain things, and experience it. That's where you're going to grow. Don't let focusing on a trade slow your progression. And the progression we're talking about is gaining that understanding of how price delivers and the intention of price delivery. Exactly. Again, because that's where you're gonna get the biggest leaps in trading, we feel.
Yes, so that's then on to talking about session times, which is obviously something very important, because session times is obviously, have them on your chart as well. This is something else you'll see us when we do the markups, that we've got little blocks on our charts of different colors, and this is the session times, because this is when the most money is moving in the market and the most volumes being traded by the BFIs. So that's where obviously we normally see them bigger moves, and that's obviously where we can make big percentage very, very quickly as well. So,
and just the times on our charts, UK time is, what do you have on yours? 7?
8 till 11.
8 now.
And then 1 till 4, but there is definitely still moves that happen before 8 o'clock, and after 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
it's just a stream of opportunities at all times. So
all times, I mean, but it's
more talking about Asian session as well, and trade in Asian session. So sorry, unless you wanted to add anything.
Yeah, I just want to quickly say that when we're mentioning session times, as obviously most of you will be aware of, the session times and the purposes and the reasons why we look at them. But the main thing here is just to keep it in mind. So, have them marked up on your chart and observe how price interacts around these times, right? That's something you want to learn, because price will, have its phases throughout the day. And typically, as Burton said, the phase which is, a movement of price, a more of a considerable movement, 30, 40, 50 plus pips, is going to happen in those session times, because that's when, obviously the most liquidity is in the market to create such movements. So I just wanted to add that in there.
But our thoughts on trading Asian sessions. So this is something that we do if we see an opportunity. So it's not like we don't trade Asian and we only look at these 2 sessions that we have on our charts, because if we see an opportunity and we have a narrative that's built, whether that's after the session, before the session, during Asian session, that's an opportunity to make money. So why would we not want to take it? So It's the people that's asking about, you know, if we can't wake up in time for London and so on and so on. There's opportunities all the time. Obviously, Asian sessions are just going to move a lot slower, so you just have to understand what sort of trade you're getting into, and really, I think what the most important thing is going back through at the end of the day the moves, and then if you're only able to watch the charts for, let's say, 1 or 2 hours a day, then them 1 or 2 hours, just make sure you're fully in, and you're really understanding that 1 or 2 hours when you go back over the trades at the end of the day and the moves at the end of the day, and understanding what happens at certain times. You know, is there any sort of patterns that you're realizing, any sort of price delivery patterns?
It's the
session.
The sessions allow you as an individual, however your life is set out at the moment, you know, your work schedules or your family or however it is, but the sessions are there for you to break up a trading day. So if you only have time, if you only have a limited time throughout the day, you know, you can just focus on one session. That is perfectly fine, because you will catch moves no matter, you know, there's always going to be trades in front of you if you're watching the market over for a certain period of time. But these sessions are kind of there for you to kind of tailor into your lives. So, you know, use them for that, and don't feel like you're missing out on anything, because, you know, there's multiple opportunities for anyone, whatever your work schedule. And if you're only able to trade Asian range, then just, as Burton said, just understand that, or don't even understand, but show yourself through over time that the Asian session moves in certain types of ways. So, you know, you might be more inclined to set take profits, or, you know, XYZ. But the purpose is just give yourself that knowledge and that understanding first before you just start, you know, jumping into doing one thing over another.
And time to learn, time to actually learn these things. And it's not you're not just gonna say, oh, I want to trade this amount of time throughout the day, and then that's it, everything clicks for you. You've got to really put in the work and understand what's happening during that session and during that time that you're able to trade, and that's where you're really gonna see a massive improvement. So just give yourself some time to actually learn and explore things and understand things, because we're even learning and understanding things now. I mean, we're super early into our journey of smart money concept, but we've got tons to learn. This is a never-ending journey of learning. So don't always rush into thinking you know or wanting to know, because just rushing the process.
We've never rushed. Like, obviously you get those emotions that you want it quick and you want it now, but we've always known that it's gonna come. It's just about aligning things correctly. So, you know, there is no rush. You will get there. That's definitely sure, especially with this type of understanding of the market. You know, the only difference now for everyone in terms of individuals is the time it takes to get there. So, you know, do what you can, set your day up in a perfect way for you to, you know, take as much opportunity out of your day as possible in terms of furthering your understanding. But do it in a way that works for you, and then you won't feel like you need to rush. You will know it's coming regardless. It's just a matter of time.
Cool. So that brings us on to key habits. So you want to take a start?
Yeah. So yeah, obviously we've gone over like tips and things to mention. So now these are habits that you probably want to have in your daily routine. Again, it can be different and it can be varied for everyone, but these are very good starting points to kind of ensure your progression over the weeks and months. So first habit to have is following or watching price delivery and keeping track of it. So obviously we'll understand what price delivery is, and watching it and observing it. So you just want to be able to do that. You want to be doing that throughout the day. So again, if you can only trade a session, then make sure that you're jumping onto the chart every, you know, 10 minutes, every 5 minutes, every 15 minutes, every 30. Like, you know, it can be down to you, but the point here is that you're following the market as it's delivering. You're not just looking at the market at the end of the day, because, you know, that's not the worst thing, but obviously you can gain a lot more by following price action throughout the day and watching what happens next, or, you know, having an idea and then letting it play out, and then being able to kind of, you know, mold your idea or change your idea in the moment. So yeah, it's very, very important that you do that consistently.
But also, as well, marking up at the end of the day, I mean, we literally say this every video, near enough every single video now, but it's because it's so important, and it's because we're only going to tell you things that we've done to get here and consistently still do to remain here and remain progressing, and marking up at the end of the day and understanding why. I mean, even to add on to what Chuck's just said, in the keeping track of delivery, like really understanding why prices stopped here, where it's reacted from, why it's reacted from there, what it's now creating. It's just understanding why the moves happened, and that's the way you're going to learn. Because consistently, if you're figuring out why prices stopped here, you know what's being created here, you're going to consistently see the same price deliveries over and over again. Because obviously we're only watching one pair. There's only a certain amount of variations of the same sort of delivery that you can see, and then you'll be able to see this in the moment. But more going back onto the next tip of marking up at the end of the day. So it's not about just marking up just one trade that you've done or a trade that you got into. It's really understanding the move for that session. I mean, this goes back onto what we said about the Asian session, but just go into detail. Just look at every reaction, look at every price delivery, start to mark up the same price deliveries. I don't know, even save price deliveries and see them over again. Because me and Chuck last night was on our Instagram, and we literally looked at the picture of both the most recent pictures that we've done, and we just said they're literally identical, just a different variation of the same sort of price delivery. Yeah, that's the one.
The recent 2 posts.
Yeah, just a different variation of the same price delivery, and that's because we've just seen that over and over again. We've marked it up over and over again, and we've seen it plenty more times as well. So make sure you're obviously marking up end of the session in detail, as much detail as you can, because you're just training your subconscious to be able to see these things.
And it's everything on the chart matters, right? Only because you've marked up a mitigation and that's where we see higher prices come in, doesn't mean that's the only important area in the chart, right? It's all important. And it's because we don't just want to understand one part of that phase of delivery. We want to understand the before, the during, and the after. This is the skill, and this is the understanding. This is the building the narrative, and being confident in your understanding. This is how it's created, by looking at pretty much everything. You might as well say, but not to make that sound overwhelming, because obviously we break it down into the concepts we know, and you guys know. So I think that is pretty, as Burton said, we probably say it in every video, so you guys should be doing it anyway. But just remember, if you are at that point when you're doing it consistently and you're doing it every day, make sure you're pushing yourself each day by trying to discover more. And only because we don't mention certain things doesn't mean they're not there. So you might see something that we don't see. So, don't feel free to, again, like, conversate with us about things that you might find or you might see, because we might have seen the same things as well. And we can kind of give you our perspective on what we've seen and the pattern that we see kind of come into the market. And anyway,
to add to that, we both have a genuine interest in price delivery. So even people sending us in charts and working out what people are seeing or understanding it's so interesting to us.
Definitely.
Exactly, just send them in. But that literally leads us on to this next point of having a positive attitude and continuing to develop your price action skills or your attitude.
It's the having a so let's jump in there, but it's the having a positive attitude to developing or your development, right? A positive attitude, obviously, we can all have, but more specifically is you having a positive attitude towards your own development. And I guess that's obviously what we're gonna
say. The quote. This is what we understand as a winning attitude, is expecting a positive result from your efforts, with the understanding that whatever results you do get are a perfect reflection of your level of development and what you need to learn to do better. And that's a quote from a really old video from Bob Proctor, which it just describes it just perfectly. It's literally just expecting a positive result, but if you don't get that positive result, then what do you need to learn to do better? And it's just continuously building on that until you reach your goal. And that's what trading is. It can be a slow game and can take time, and you might want everything now, but the truth is you just need to learn from all these experiences that are coming to you. So,
and they are all positive experiences, because they're things, they're things and situations that you have to come to understand and overcome. And this is exactly how you can go through that process, because these things that you might think are holding you back are actually making you move further. And it's just keeping that in mind, right? Keeping that in mind. So what's a real life situation of what we're trying to say here is, if you've gone to take a trade, or you've gone to have a prediction or anticipating a certain price delivery, and that doesn't play out the way that you maybe envisioned it playing out, or you got taken out, your trade got stopped out or whatever, that's not a bad thing. The loss does not equal negative. It doesn't equal that you don't know what you're doing, or it doesn't equal that you're confused now, you don't understand anything, right? It doesn't have to equal all of these things. What it does equal is further understanding and greater understanding, right? For your development, for your trading development, for you to become the trader that you want to be. These are good things that are happening to you and us in order to get us there. And we've been through at this point, I don't really care how many times I have to go through it, because I understand I've been through it enough times now, that I know that it's much easier to keep a positive attitude, because I know that at the end of every, experience, there's more that is gained, whether it's 100% more or 5% or 1% more, it's always more. So I talk for both of us as well, but we've just learned that it's gonna come, right? It's gonna come. So the best thing we could do is just keep that positive attitude to developing, because it's something we love to do, and you guys should feel the same. It's gonna definitely allow your trading experience to be more pleasant and enjoyable and exciting. Yes. So yeah, took over there, Burton.
Oh, cool. Is there anything else we wanted to cover?
Just that last bit about the I guess wrapping all of what I said into.
Yeah, exactly. Just understanding you're building these three circles at all times: your self-image, your subconscious, and your conscious minds. So if you're first learning to let's say trade, you're consciously learning to trade. Then once you've done that enough times, like once you've seen price delivery 100 times, the same sort of price delivery, now it's in your subconscious, and now your self-image is starting to build that confidence in applying that price delivery and trading it, and that's building all three circles essentially: your conscious, subconscious, and self-image. And that's what builds you. That's what builds your progression essentially, and these are the areas that you always want to focus on. So if you're always focusing on the conscious and subconscious, and you're always focusing on technical, but you're not understanding your own self-image and how things are affecting you and your emotions and how that affects your trading, then you're not building all three circles. And that literally just more goes into having a positive attitude and how important it is, because having a positive attitude is going to be building your self-image as you're learning, and that's what's super important as a trader. Super important
is to have a good self-image. So when we say self-image, is when you think about yourself as a trader, you think great things, right? You think that you understand the markets. You may not be able to trade the markets yet. That's perfectly fine. You understand that's what you're developing to, but you understand that you are on that path. You're doing very well. You're doing the right things, and you're confident in what you're doing, right? Doesn't mean that you have to be correct in every single thing that you do, right? But your intention, the seed you're planting, and the awareness that you have of yourself is from that type of perspective. And it's who you want to become. How do you become an elite trader who is, smashing out 1,000% a week? It's not by thinking that you can't do it, or you're confused, or you don't know why. I just imagine that type of person who's capable of that is not having those types of thoughts, probably the complete opposite. And this is what we want to try and cultivate in our trading.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good book that comes from just to quickly tell them.
With Winning in Minds, that book.
Yeah,
it's an incredible book.
What's the guy's name again? Remember?
I'll find out.
Sure, but That's with winning in mind. It's a great book. One of the probably the best books that we both read.
Lanny R. Bassam. I would put it up there with the best book I've ever read.
Yeah, definitely. Likewise. It will definitely give you what you need for that for your next phase.
Just for understanding, just for the awareness of the learning stage that you go through, and really building a deeper understanding of what's actually happening as you're going through something. So super important. But yeah, so anyway guys, thanks for watching. Let us know your takeaways from today's video. Obviously let's have a focus week because the market's looking very, very interesting already, and it's only Monday. And of course, we appreciate all you guys. Thanks for all the positive messages. You know, we really appreciate all those positive messages and the kind words, and even sending in your trades, and even being able to see everyone progressing is just incredible for us.
Yes,
even after only 5-6 weeks, and you're all progressing. Like this is crazy. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Let us know your feedback. And yeah,
appreciate
the next one.